Crime has existed since the beginning of humankind, but only until recently has social media really impacted the way in which crimes are portrayed to the public. Not only the crimes itself, but specifically the criminals as portrayed by the media have really influenced the stereotypical opinions of the general public. People are becoming more aware of the discrimination from simply watching the news or reading the newspaper. It has also been noticed as people log into their social media accounts and begin to look at memes that show the classification of criminals based on discriminatory beliefs. I decided to interview a UAB student to get her take on what crimes are associated with her race and how she came to that conclusion.
I'm Miriam. I'm Hispanic, and Hispanics are usually associated with being rapists or illegal immigrants stealing hard-working Americans' jobs, and that's due largely to the fact that our current president and his followers foster this feeling of hate towards minorities and people of color, specifically Hispanics.
Miriam is right. A case of discriminatory beliefs is occurring in our own government. Here is what our own president had to say when speaking of Mexicans.
That have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
President Trump has accumulated a vast number of followers on all types of social media platforms, big and small. His opinion matters to many, and the people are listening to what he says. It is to no surprise that him and his followers believe that Hispanics, and mostly Mexicans, are rapists. Statistics, however, prove that Hispanics are not accountable for all cases of rape. In fact, 57% of rape cases are committed by white people, followed by 27% blacks, 8% unknown, 6% other, and 1% of the mixed group. Another report done by the Bureau of Justice Statistics takes a look at sex offenses and offenders to explore patterns throughout the early 2000s with over 40 pages of content and statistical data. On page 27, the Bureau provides a chart with the characteristics of imprisoned rape and sexual assault offenders. With 99.6% of offenders being male, 52.2% are white, 43.7% are black, and 4.1% are others. With reports such as these, it is vital that people realize that even people in power can be wrong and can overlook facts to benefit themselves and feed the public lies. I decided to conduct an online interview with a student from Auburn University to gain insight on the perspective of a Caucasian person.
My name is Patrick. The crimes that are mainly associated with my race are school shootings and hate crimes. I believe this because it's what people say, and also statistically proven that the Caucasian race is the lead race in school shootings.
Unfortunately, this happens to be true. A statistic done by Statista of mass shootings from the year 1982 to August 31st of 2019 reports that out of 114 mass shootings throughout those years, 65 of the shootings were initiated by whites, 19 of them by blacks, and 10 by Latinos. However, these ideals of the Caucasian race are portrayed in the media in form of memes and humorous images, and are not shown in the news media itself. This is greatly due to the fact that various news outlets are considered to be biased. Among one of the largest, Fox News is considered to be the most biased. This is because it heavily leans to the Republican side of politics. With many other races being portrayed as over-dramatized versions of reality, unfortunately most of the time it is African Americans who gain most of the backlash and the worst reputation.
What people see and hear in the media has a tremendous effect on their lives, has a tremendous effect on decisions they make, from decisions that are made in the schoolhouse to the courthouse. If you were to believe local news in New York, you would think that 72% of assaults were committed by black folks. But that number is not even close to correct when you compare it to NYPD arrest records. This type of overrepresentation, sends a message that it's okay and it's justified to fear black folks. It sends a message about who black people are that is, harmful and hurtful. And
But the discrimination is also being seen with subtle differences in headings and relationship to those committing crimes. In an article by the HuffPost, examples are provided to show just how a white person's story is sugarcoated to try to overlook the crime, while black crime is the complete opposite and oftentimes worsened. A white person may be labeled brilliant yet social misfit, while the black victim is exposed for having a past of drug abuse and problems with the law. Furthermore, the white victim is brilliant and athletic, but his troublesome actions are due to dramatic events, all valid reasons, but it loses effect when the media has to mention that a black victim had trouble in school, as if to make it seem worse for what they did. At the end of the day, however, they all committed a crime, regardless of the color of their skin. So at the end of the day, what does it all mean? Is it really affecting us emotionally to be falsely portrayed? And if so, how are these stereotypes actually making people feel? I set off to Google Forms and created a questionnaire to gain some insight on what people felt when viewing certain images from the media itself and about questions on how they have noticed the media being biased, and later asking some people on how it made them feel. Within a week, I was able to accumulate 76 responses to my 10-question form, thanks to people at school, co-workers, and friends, as well as family members, of which I received a pretty good sample of people. When shown 5 memes, 37% of the people found it humorous, while 60% felt offended. In the end, about 3% of the people stated not caring about the images. When asked about how the people felt with the portrayal of their race in a criminal aspect, people took a defensive stance. Some mentioned that it was funny until it was their own race, some viewed it as strictly humorous, and others thought that it provided fake information and that it justified discriminating people as just a joke. And although some people felt like images such as these were funny or examples of jokes, the reality is that not all people see it this way. Through the research, the interviews, and real-life examples, I have found to strongly believe that poor crime representation and stereotypes in the media is not okay. So it can be seen in various examples in everyday life just how influential the media can be. With subliminal messages such as the depiction of minorities through headlines and false information, people all over the world are being fed stereotypes about the criminals behind certain crimes. The truth is that most of these stereotypes are false, and all it takes is a bit of research to see the truth. However, our fast-paced lives don't allow us to take the time to look into the reality of things. It's the media that is causing the negative views of races, even though no singular crime should be linked to just one race. It's not a fact of race, ethnicity, or skin color, but of humanity in essence, because we are all humans who are capable of crime. And although we should not be quick to discriminate people, the sad part of it is that it's going to keep happening. So to fix this issue, solving racism completely is out of the picture, mainly because we are not at the transcendental point where we can all live as one. Instead, we should tackle the media to become neutral and honest about what is actually occurring in the world we live in. The news media was made to inform people about the things that affect them, not to implant discriminatory beliefs into society. For too long have people been discriminated by others for it to take a more permanent form. And yes, this means the media.
Excuse me.
Perhaps racism itself can't be solved from one day to another, and it will most likely take many, many years until its complete disappearance. However, the annihilation of stereotypes in the media could be one small step that leads to a unified world, where everyone is treated the same and never given labels because of other people's mistakes.